Welcome to this week's episode of Car Stars and Roll Bars. I'm Mike Kinney, your host, and each week we talk all about this great aspects of car culture, the people, the cars, and the collections, and the museums. And what a segue into today's guest from the Savoy Automobile Museum. We have Tom Shinall with us, and make sure I got all the specifics right. And he's like the director of development. I just think he's kind of like an all-around cool guy, got a cool job, right? Sixth generation from Bartow County, graduate of Kennesaw State University, got his Bachelor of Science in Communication. He's had a DJ service. He's done all kinds of entrepreneurial stuff, charity work, sports broadcasting, became their director of marketing at Booth Western Art Museum, and in 2018, he became director of development for the Savoy, as I like to call it. Tom, welcome aboard. It's great to have you on the show. How are you doing today?
I am doing great, Mike. It's an honor to be with you today, and looking forward to sharing all things Savoy and having some fun.
So we're going to have some fun. So for our viewers, each week we change it up a little. And you heard my phrase, a picture's worth 1,000 words. Well, with the help of Tom and his team, I think we have a pretty good intro video to let you know what the Savoy is about. Hey, Rick, hit the play button on that puppy.
The Savoy Automobile Museum is a visionary design unlike anything else. We truly are a world-class museum. When you walk into the museum, you walk through the entry hall and you enter the Great Hall, right in front of you, you're going to see the Savoy Collection. It ranges from 1903 all the way up to current day, well over 100 years of automotive history. Beyond just the exhibition galleries, we have a presentation theater. So this facility for us is an opportunity to be able to use it for programming and events. We are more than just a collection. We want people to be able to come back. We want there to be programming, educational opportunities, events. We want to connect them to the cultural diversity of the automobile and let them learn and reminisce about the stories that these cars tell.
How cool was that? And I've been singing the praise of your museum since we first had our Zoom and I first found you guys. Somebody goes, you got to go check them out. And a lot of the museums, they'll find like an old 1900s building and they dutifully restore it and make place for the cars. I guess we just need to show our viewers the approach you guys took, right? Stand by.
Sounds good to me.
Rick, hit the play button again. Now, so you started out with a hunk of dirt, right?
Yeah, I mean, in all reality, we started out with 37 acres, and this wasn't just an overnight build. This was a 4-year process for us, from clearing the land to putting up our vehicle storage building to building the main museum structure and to where we are today.
Wow. So now, talking about the vehicle storage building directly behind you, how big?
Yeah, so
what is this?
Yeah. Well, that's actually where I'm at today, sitting behind me, and I had to showcase, if I'm going to do a presentation like this, what would make for a great backdrop, and what better of a backdrop than cars like this flanking both sides, stacked 3 high. So this structure for us is honestly, it's garage goals. This is logistics. This isn't open to the general public. So this is a little bit of a behind the scenes snapshot for you.
Yeah.
But this is logistics for us, as I mentioned. It stores and houses our collection. But what we're doing at Savoy is different than the standard car museum, where we're curating exhibits and we're rotating exhibits and cars in and out of the museum on a monthly basis. And by doing so, there's a lot of moving and shaking that goes with that. And so we need a space dedicated to storing the cars, getting them ready, utilizing them both in and out of exhibitions. And that's what this space is for us.
Wow. And so just to clarify for the viewers and for Mikey as well, did you say these are 3-high storage?
You heard me correct, Mike. So we have got triple lifts here in our vehicle storage building. To give you an idea, the vehicle storage building itself is about 35,000 square feet. And as of right now, we have a mixture of triple lifts and floor space. At any time right now, I think we can get about 150 to 200 cars in storage, utilizing these lifts in our floor space. We've got, I think, 39 lifts installed currently, with room for more as we grow over the years.
So just, I'm going to let you know right now, and I'll be glad to follow up with the application. If you guys would like to adopt an old beat up white hair video podcast guy about hot rodding, I'm very interested in applying. I'm just saying.
Sounds good to me. You know, it's kind of one of those things where, you know, folks joke about, man, you've got a fun job. I'm like, well, yeah, I get to play with cars every day. I mean, it's this passion that's just, it's fun and it's enjoyable. And yet we can relate on that. And that's what's so great about it.
And talk about great, and that video the viewers just saw, again, thanks to Tom, everybody at Savoy that put that together, introducing this great property. You go, Mike, it was hard to keep track of it all. Well, we have a solution for you. So we've got a series of picks. So we're going to walk through them in a fairly timely manner, but I think we got some great stuff, what I call the grounds area. So this is like that stepping way back just to give a sense of the magnitude of this, right?
That's exactly it. I mean, that's Savoy in a nutshell right there. 37 acres on the corner of two historic highways here in North Georgia, rolling berms and manicured landscaping that really emulates that of like a golf course. Think Concours quality event. The grounds were made to look this way for that very reason. We want to be able to do car shows, cruise-ins, meetups, Concours type events on our grounds year round, and we can actually house upwards of 1,000 cars for display on the grounds.
I love it. We got a couple more. Just this whole building, just the architects and whoever did all the final designs, 2 thumbs up, man.
Well, and, you know, that's something that we wanted to make sure we focused on, Mike, was the fact that, you know, car museums, every car museum is unique and great in its own right, just like individual car designs. You've got museums that are world-class structures built from the ground up. You've got museums that are glorified garages or renovated warehouses or repurposed buildings. We went on that open end of that world-class ground-up aspect of it, and I think, you know, you say a picture is worth 1,000 words. Just wait till you see this place in person.
I would agree, and I think we got a couple of more of that grounds there, if I'm not mistaken, because this is. I had so much fun when you guys were sending me all the videos and the pics. I'm going, oh my goodness, we can't run 1,000 today.
No, not at all. And that does give you a good idea. You know, you asked for a certain number of pictures, and I'm sitting here struggling trying to figure out, well, how can I only send that many? I guess I'll put the difficulty on you selecting the pictures, and that's what's the great thing about this is we've got pictures and we've got experiences and we've got collateral that we can share, and I think that's kind of the point of it.
And I know one of the pics you sent me, I may have got lost in the shuffle. It's an old Savoy, like a there she is.
So there's a fun story about this, Mike, and this is what I've got to tell you. This car is our namesake. This is a 1954 Plymouth Savoy.
Right.
So in 2018, when we started grading the land, we didn't unearth multiple cars. We didn't find parts of cars. We found one automobile on the property. Here's where the clouds parted and the sun shined down and the birds sang, and it was this aha moment of here's the omen that we're building a car museum, and we found one automobile on the property. And that's it. We dug it out. We saved it. We really enjoyed the story. We knew this car had a story. We happened to be a part of it. So we actually saved it. We've returned it to its grounds, or to the grounds. And that's really the first car you encounter when you come to the museum. And we like to share that because, you know, that car's got a story and we're part of it. And that's what we're doing.
So now, I am an Art Deco guy like you won't believe. So to me, this is very reminiscent of some of the old rolls and the Pierce arrows, right? So this is something you guys, you just kind of designed this from scratch, right?
Well, you'd think so, but you are exactly right when you're naming those manufacturers
Yeah.
because of the iconic hood ornaments and mascots that they produced.
Yes.
We knew we wanted to add to that element of an experience before you ever step foot into the museum. You
Beautiful.
saw the overview, you saw the grounds.
Yeah.
There's already this buildup of what the experience is going to be, and then you walk past this. And this was a piece that we had commissioned. It's hard to tell by the picture. This gives you a better idea of the scale. The actual sculpture is 40 feet long.
What?
Setting at her peak, she's about 24 feet in the air. She's 8 feet wide, and she weighs 5 tons. But we're not going to talk about her weight. But she is spectacular. She is polished stainless steel, and her name is the Spirit of Speed.
The Spirit of Speed. Ooh, I like it.
She was produced by She was produced by a sculptor out of Spain, is where her studio is, Linda Brunkner. And so she was a piece that we actually commissioned early 2000, and we received her on site probably the summer of 21. And then she went up right before we opened in December of 21.
My goodness. So it isn't like you went around the corner to some guy because, hey, can you throw something together? Here's $100 in a six-pack. You actually went out of country because you knew the artist you wanted, right?
Yeah, that's exactly it. And we come from a museum family, so we're not just one museum. Savoy is a museum unto itself, but we're under an umbrella of other museums. We have a Western Art Museum. We have the Science Museum, which you mentioned. So obviously with an art museum, we have connections to artists. We have an affinity for original art, and that's where you see that tie-in. Yeah. And that's case in point when you walk through the museum. Mike, one thing that's done really well all over this country is automobilia. The neon signs and the porcelain tin signs, the cityscapes and the gas stations and the pumps. We wanted to do something different. And so we have an entire collection of curated, original automotive themed artwork. Is the piece you see now. I mean, that's a mural of pieces from our collection with the Savoy name embossed over it by an artist, again, to scale. That's about 7 feet tall by 25 feet wide.
Oh my stars! Wow. Now, and we got some other shots. So this is called the wheel, right?
Yeah, it took me a long time to come up with that. Even better from a marketing perspective, this is in our cafe. So we invite folks to come have a meal under the wheel.
Meal under the wheel.
In all reality, this is a space that we have a cafe on site that's not just your typical soup, salad, and sandwiches. Local, fresh, homemade stuff, prepared daily. You can visit the cafe and eat without even coming into the museum. So it's a destination style bistro restaurant in that sense. And we had this rotunda aspect that's like, okay, well, do we want to just do a regular old ceiling in it? Well, no, we don't want to do that. Why would we? And we took inspiration from a 1932 Ford pickup truck that's in our collection with the red wire spoke wheel and kind of created a little bit of a belly for a white wall effect with the gantry there and the hand painted tire tread to set it all off.
That is just phenomenal. Now, we saw this in the video. I got to be candid. This is like something you'd see at the Kennedy Center or something. What is going on?
It really is. And that's kind of the mindset behind it. This is our presentation theater. And as a museum, we're not just a collection. We want people to be able to get engaged and to have programming and to tell stories and to elaborate on what is automotive history. And so we have a 297 seat state-of-the-art presentation theater. The car you see in the photo is on a turntable, so it rotates 360 degrees, both counterclockwise and clockwise. The screen behind it is completely digital, ultra high def, curved, 18 feet by 31 feet. So it's, they told us there was nothing else like it in the Southeast. I think they tell that to all their partners, but in all reality, it is a one-off piece that we're really proud of. And we use this both internally, Mike, for programming, but then externally in the community. We've had a wedding in here. We've had a TEDx event. We've had corporate retreats and trainings for industry partners. So it's one of those flex spaces and multi-use spaces, both internally and externally.
Excellent. So and yeah, so and you this again, there's just another great examples. We're kind of getting to the end of the grounds part of our show today. Just as you go to walk up, it just kind of lets you know you guys are serious about this.
We are. And, this is something that we've even added recently. When we first opened the museum, we didn't have a car on display at the entrance. But
Right.
As a nonprofit, as a cultural resource, you'll understand this. We rely on the support of others.
Yes.
And as a nonprofit, we've been very fortunate that we have had a substantial amount of automobiles donated to the museum collection. This car being one. I mean, this was a car that was gifted to the museum from a local collection, and they requested that we use it and share it with people.
Yes.
And so what better way for people to experience a car museum by when you walk up, crawl in one, take a picture, enjoy it, see what it would have been like riding in this car. And so that's something that's been great for everybody that's coming. It doesn't matter if they're 70 or 7. Everybody likes to get their picture taken in a classic car.
Excellent. We got a few more things we're going to share. We got some examples of the artwork inside the Savoy, because you're in here and say you are so much more than just a museum.
That is exactly it. This is a piece, and the mediums vary. We didn't want just pieces of paint.
Yeah.
This is a 3D piece that is actually wood that is painted to look three-dimensional by an artist, Michael Sponholtz, out of the Midwest. And that's a large piece. It's like 15 feet by 10, 12 feet. It makes a great photo op in the museum, but it was commissioned after a 32 Buick that we have in our collection.
Beautiful. I think we got a couple more, Rick. Wow.
That's the dashboard of a 57 Buick Roadmaster that is a part of our collection. And now there's a fun piece. I'm gonna give you a little bit of insight on this one, kind of one of our Savoy secrets.
Yeah.
If you look really close at this piece and you look at the odometer, 12/8/21. That was our opening day for the museum. And so you've got one of those little hidden nuggets in there in that piece.
Excellent. Tell you, we've got a lot of pictures we're looking at, so we're going to touch this, and we're going to jump over some pictures of the cars as well. What's up with this one? This is kind of neat.
It is a neat piece. This is made out of Rubik's Cube blocks. It was commissioned off of our 46 Mercury Woody Wagon, and it's made out of 903 Rubik's Cube blocks. Somebody had to do that. That's the way I look at it.
Yes, somebody thought of it and they had to do it. And Rick, I think we got a whole series of this is there's a collectible doozy sitting in front of that rendering, right?
And that's not just a rendering. That is a painting, and then that is a die-cast automobilia setting in front of it. The painting itself is incredibly detailed, and it's 5 foot by 5 feet. So these aren't just sketches, and you'll see that as you kind of see these paintings and these photos of them coming through. They are truly one-off works of art. Just like automobiles.
Just like automobiles. I'll tell you, before we jump into the cars, we've got to keep an eye on our schedule as well, because I know we're both running crazy today. You've had an amazing career in your trajectory where you're going. I think you've kind of landed in, a sweet spot. So who's been or still is one of your favorite mentors?
Mentors. In all reality, I'm going to have to say I've got a couple of them. That would have been my father, my stepfather, and my grandfather, which I've lost all three of them over the years. But all three of those gentlemen played a large impact on my life. All three of them enjoyed automobiles. I grew up on a farm around machinery and working with our hands. And so that's where the passion ignited early on. But the business side of things, the carrying myself and the lifestyle side of things, tying that in with passion from a professional standpoint, I can definitely pinpoint back to those three guys in my life.
Very, very cool. And we got a series of pics of the cars. We won't be able to touch on every one of them, but go ahead and grab some of these. Now, so this is kind of like when you're kind of getting ready to walk in the place, and I love what's on the ceiling up there, connecting people to the cultural diversity of the automobile.
That, plain and simple, Mike, that is our mission statement. We're not limiting ourselves to any make, model, era, or style. You'll see that as we roll through some of these photos of the eclectiveness. And that's what we want to do. We want to connect people to memories and to making new memories and going through exhibitions, whether it be something that's themed like this. This is a Pirelli exhibition where automobiles to drive on Pirelli tires. And so Lamborghinis and Ferraris, but then you get into displays like this to where you see multiple galleries, and you might have Art Deco and Great American Classics kind of to the right, and you've got an exhibit of Woodies in the back. But here kind of gives you a scale and scope of the size of the museum to see. I mean, that right there, there's a Pierce Arrow Silver Arrow, one of 5 ever made, on display at one point here in the museum as part of an exhibition that we had. So what's fun about this is, we look through some of these photos and I can say, those cars aren't here anymore. They rotate. We rotate these exhibits in and out on a monthly basis. Here's Indy cars from the 1950s and 1960s, these front engine, single cockpit Indy roadsters that raced at Indy and have that provenance. And not every car, Mike, has to be perfectly restored and a 100-point car. They can have provenance and scratches and bumps because they raced at the brickyard, and that's the stories that we're telling. That it's things like that people will relate to and say, "Man, I remember seeing these cars and watching these races from that standpoint." And then this gives you a scale of what the actual facility is itself. So. And you're seeing through some of this, I mean, you talked about Art Deco and you talked about domestic automobiles, and we looked at international, and you look at motorsports, and, it goes right back to that mission statement that you read, and it's that cultural diversity that, we can't own every make, model, and style of car that there ever has been. But Rick, we can borrow. We can take them on loan. I mean, just like 2 iconic cars right there, Richard Petty's Superbird, Bobby Isaac's Dodge Daytona. I mean, cars that we're able to bring in that you don't ever expect to see in your lifetime, yet alone together. And bringing in those opportunities is what really makes this a world-class experience.
Absolutely. I'd have Rick freeze that because, Tom, I'm pretty much I'm a flat screaming bonker guy for any wing car. So
well,
I had selfless intent to freeze it right there.
Well, and that's fair because those are obviously 2 of the most iconic wing cars of all time.
Absolutely correct.
Fun, quick story that ties off of that. Yeah. Currently on display, we have one of one. We have a 1970 Mercury Spoiler Cyclone 2. That was a prototype to race against those cars.
Yes.
That was then discontinued and outlawed by NASCAR.
Absolutely.
Sent off to be scrapped. Somebody saved it. We currently have it on display right now.
Beautiful. I think, and we got a couple more of the car. And what strikes me in some of these shots, and you see just the guests walking through them, and they've got smiles on their face. They're sharing conversations and sharing stories, right?
Well, and that's exactly it. And you also mentioned the point about them walking around the cars. We're not displayed like a dealership where it's a collection in one big room and everything's side by side. Yeah. We want people to be able to walk around it and appreciate it and be a little bit more intimate with it and look inside the cockpit or look inside the window and get a feel for these automobiles. Whoa. And I think that adds a big difference to it. I mean, this photo right here of this Town and Country was taken straight off of our museum floor. So, I mean, there's no stanchions around this car. I mean, the windows are down, and you can appreciate it for what it was, but then again, what it is today.
That's just, and okay, and this is that Pierce, right?
That is that Pierce. Yeah, there's that Art Deco era again. Yeah. Again, just an iconic car that's, personally, this is one of those that, Mike, I saw this and I was like, I don't think I'll ever see one of those in person. And then I find out we're getting one for one of our exhibits. And talking about a showstopper, that car is stunning.
And what's fascinating with these cars, Rick, just real quick, this is well before AutoCAD and CNC machining capabilities. This is guys just with mental tape rulers and stuff, right? Just doing it by hand, and the way they come out is amazing.
Well, and you can argue that that's an art form. I mean, it really is. I mean, it's subjective, and that's what's fun about it. I mean, not everybody's going to appreciate this, but everybody will appreciate something about it. And you make a great point about that. I mean, another car. I mean, right here to the left, you're looking at a Tucker.
Yeah.
I mean, one of 48 that still exists, and that one's number 44 that we were graciously loaned for an exhibit. And again, a car that never would have expected to see in my lifetime, yet alone in a small town in North Georgia that happens to house a collection of cars where we're just building upon it and making friendships and bringing in cars. So,
wow,
truly a remarkable opportunity to be a part of it.
So, for the viewers, you're based in Cartersville, Georgia, so you're not like New York City with millions of people. So how did this amazing museum that is truly breathtaking, one of the best I've ever seen, especially all this backstory with, how'd you guys get up in Cartersville, Georgia? Nothing against Cartersville, Georgia. Just saying. I'm just curious.
Yeah, well, the way I look at it is you can't spell Cartersville without car. So, I mean, that's where it comes down to, in my opinion. But yeah, I'll be here all day. But no, in all reality, we're a program. We've got an umbrella organization. Like I mentioned the other museums, and the family and the foundation that started our museums called Cartersville Home. We're halfway between Atlanta, Georgia, and Chattanooga, Tennessee. We're right on I-75, just on the outskirts of Atlanta, probably about 45 minutes from downtown, about an hour north from that standpoint. So the car culture in this region is, I would rival it with anywhere in the country, from the eclectic and the diversity of what car culture is in the Southeast, to that in SoCal, to that in, Detroit, and where it was birthed and manufacturing took place. The car culture is thriving here. People are passionate about it. There's some incredible resources, incredible collections, and to kind of be in the center of that for us is special. It just turned out that we're in Cartersville, and for what it is from that standpoint, I'm fortunate from that because this is my hometown. And so not only do I get to play with cars and promote a great museum, I get to promote my hometown, which it's a win-win for me in that standpoint.
That is phenomenal. And before we say goodbye, because I always laugh and I say, okay, we got a 30-minute episode. How's it going to work? And the next thing you know, especially when I have a great guest like you, we're almost out of time, right? And I think we could probably do 6 episodes on you guys. We could do a whole episode on the building you're sitting in. So before I let you go, how's everybody got a hold of you? How do they find the museum? I think we got some information we can pop on screen.
Absolutely. The easiest thing to do is to find us online, savoymuseum.org.
Okay.
You can shoot us an email. You can call us. You can find us on social media, Savoy Auto Museum. We're active. We're out there. And then, honestly, I mean, in this car culture world, keep your ear to the ground. I mean, we feel like as the new player in the world, the new museum on the block, there's a lot of buzz going around about Savoy and who we are and what we intend to be. And we hope to live up to those expectations and just be like our other peers and continue on the legacy of what is automobiles.
Very, very cool. I totally agree, Tom. As the word gets out, I think more and more people are going to say, hey, we got to find out more. Before we say goodbye, I always have 2 questions towards the end of it. So what is your favorite, to date, I guess, automotive memory?
Favorite automotive memory. I would honestly say it was probably my first car, that sense of freedom of getting a car when I was 16. And what's really fun about that story real quick is my first car, Mike, was a 1980 Mercedes-Benz 300 Coupe diesel, 300 CD.
Really?
That thing was a tank. It wouldn't go very fast, and I think that's why that was my first car. And and I'm a big guy. I mean, I'm 6'3", I'm 300 pounds. I'm a big guy. I was in high school, and here I am in this little 2-door Coupe Mercedes. Athlete in small cars, so it was fun, and that was part of it.
So that'd be my other question. So is that your favorite automobile as well, or maybe there's another one in your mental Rolodex?
I will say it's probably the current automobile in a sense, but I'm very fortunate that my favorite car in our collection here at the museum is a 1936 Chevrolet Coupe pickup. It was the first El Camino. I mean, it was the car that was made to diversify, for you could enjoy it as a family, but you could go to work during the week and utilize the truck bed in it. And only about 3,180 something of those were ever made. Only 10 exist in the world today.
You got one.
We have one of them here in the museum, and I'm very fortunate to say that I came across one in auction last week and acquired it. So that's my new favorite car. It's my new baby from that standpoint, and one that I look forward to learning more on and sharing with my boys and continuing that passion and growth for the future.
Well, excellent. Well, Tom, I can't thank you enough for being on the show. I got to work it out sooner. I can get to that East Coast side of this country, and we got to come see you, brother.
Anytime, my friend, come see us. We'd love to. Let's do this in person one day.
I look forward to it. You all have a great weekend. Bye-bye for now.
Thank you, sir.
You bet. Thank you, man. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Tom Shinall with the Savoy Automotive Museum. You got to check him out. Breathtaking. This is Mike Kinney, Car Stars and Roll Bars. Make sure to hit that subscribe and share and like buttons on YouTube. Tell all your friends what we're doing. Until next time, enjoy the ride.